Brew officers in Indiana went above the call of duty this week. What began as a routine traffic stop of a delivery driver led to the driver's arrest after the police say that he ran from officers. Once the driver was in custody, officers made sure the packages got to their destination. So he had an estimated 40 to 50 packages that were in the vehicle. So that probably you're looking at your Ring camera and you see an officer walking up with your package.
Yeah, I would be like, did this get stolen? Like, what happened?
I think that'd be my first thought, is that it got stolen and they're bringing it back to you, right?
Yeah, and I guess as a police officer, right, because you worry about, like, porch pirates, like, do you make sure they're home? Like, I guess, like, I mean, they have the job to do too, you know? Like, so, like, but you said 40 to 50 packages, so I guess they had to deliver all of them, right?
That's a lot of work right there. I wonder if they, like, divided and conquered, you know? Like, if you were patrolling that area, you got the packages in that area.
I was going to say, I'm sure they probably did it to the lowest on the totem pole. Like, all right, you haven't been here for very long. We'll give it to you.
Helping save Christmas, right?
Exactly.
Good for them. Good for them. Well, hey, officers, they go above and beyond, do a lot of things they did not train for, did not sign up for.
Right, exactly. And I was like, I'm sure, honestly, like, if things were pretty quiet, like, that's not a too bad way to spend your weekend, right? Like, oh, I get to give out presents, get to be Santa in disguise. Yeah, why not?
They probably had fun doing it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, officers, for everything that you'll do. Well, if you were lucky, you had a teacher who had a big impact on your life. And I feel like that's the case for most of us, right? Well, that was true for North Carolina natives Matt and Ross Duffer. If you don't know who they are, they're the creators of the Netflix show Stranger Things, one of the biggest shows in the world right now. And for them, it was their high school theater teacher. She taught two young brothers at Jordan High School in Durham, Matt and Ross, and she stayed in touch with them through the years, never imagining that they'd ask her to be in the show. Well, when the season premiered, Ross Duffer posted about her, writing that she saw something in us we didn't see in ourselves and helped give them the confidence to chase their dreams. And I think that this is so neat that they included her, right? Because I think a lot of us wish that there were ways we could include those teachers who impacted us more in our story. And so for them to literally physically be able to do that and for the world to get to see her, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's very neat. And we talked about this earlier. So in the show, she actually, like, when you said cameo at first, like, I was like, oh, maybe she's in the background or something. So she's the teacher of one of the young kids, Molly. And so she's actually, like, in it. She has a little bit of a speaking role. Like, so she's given a pretty sizable role that I didn't expect her to have. So it's very cool to not only have her in the show, but also, like, being a pretty big part of it as well. And like you said, I think we've all had teachers growing up that make an impact. I was very blessed, I don't know about you, of having those teachers that were very influential.
The same. And I have a few of my teachers that live up here now that watch today, like Miss Peggy. She was my kindergarten teacher. Mr. Tyler, he was one of my math teachers. And, you know, it's always fun when you run into them and see them. And they said that I picked the right career because I like to talk in class. So. But we love that, right? Like, they were always teachers who encouraged me to do something that was social and outgoing. Go out there, and it's like, I think a lot of teachers see your talents and they want you to do something.
Right, I would say take your talents and then, use them, right? Like, use your strengths and build on your strengths. And I think that's probably what, she did for the Duffer brothers. Like, hey, you guys are good writers. You guys are good in drama. Use that to your advantage. And they certainly did.
Well, and it worked out, right? Because she was a theater teacher, so they knew that she knew how to act. So they didn't have to even like, here's your lines, you got it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
And you said her daughter's in the show too?
Oh, sorry. So the daughter, one of the daughters of the mom's in the show. Not necessarily her, her daughter, but yeah, she is like the elementary school teacher. So she was a teacher in the show. So it's like I said, like, it wasn't really much acting. Like, all right, just go do it. You know how to do this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very neat. Maybe I'll watch Stranger Things now that I know these things.
It is a little scary, I will say that. I guess the recent season is more just kind of like gory, kind of. It's so a little bit scary, but if I'm not a big fan of scary things, but if you're willing to give it a shot, I'd highly recommend.
Okay, maybe I'm convinced. Well, hey, holiday spending, it's in full swing. And according to the National Retail Federation, people are expected to spend up to $600 per person this year on presents. Wow, that's a lot. Well, the NRF also says that they expect holiday sales to surpass $1 trillion, growing almost 4% compared to last year. Now, I do feel like we've done a lot of spending so far, like on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but $600 a person is a lot.
Yeah, and I guess, a lot of that is probably for, like, parents buying stuff for your kids, and it evens out. But yeah, sorry to my girlfriend, I don't think I'm going to spend $600 on her.
Yeah, sorry to my husband, I'm not either.
I guess this feels like, and I know everything costs a lot, and it's one of those things where, like, let's say you buy, like, a gaming console, right, for your family. Well, they're $400, $500. So that's that right there.
In one game, and then there's your $600.
Well, there's your $600. So I get it, but for me, it just kind of seems unfathomable. I'm just glad her interests are not that expensive.
Well, it is easy to spend. that much.
So
I
save
mean,
or racks
think
up
about it.
quickly.
You might get like a $100 gift, but then if you do stocking stuffer, stuff like that, it can add up in a hurry.
Really good.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.